Hello everyone, good morning and good evening. So welcome to Cloud and DevOps Batch 56. So today is the session 4 of our real-time DevOps with AWS Batch 56. And before I start the session, I would like to give a quick recap on what's being covered in the previous session. Previous session, we discussed about how can we connect to the Linux servers. So in Linux, it offers password-based authentication and passwordless authentication. Passwordless authentication, there are two available formats, which is nothing but PEM and PPK. Who when to use PEM, when to use PPK is we clearly determined and discussed that. PEM is something whenever you're using tools like OpenSSL, OpenSSH format like your Git Bash or your Mobaxterm, or when you're using a Mac machine, or when you're using a Linux machine, then you're supposed to use this. In case if you're using anything related to PuTTY, you can use PPK. And also, I have clearly explained about the naming standards. Okay, so whenever you're creating anything, whenever you're designing anything, always ensure you give the names that should describe what it is. Okay, that should describe what it is, what application it is running, what type of machine it is, what is the operating system that it has, where it is located. I have given example L01 payment Linux 2. I can clearly understand just by looking at the name that it belongs to location 1, which is running an application called as payment and whose operating system is Linux, and whether it is a development machine or a production machine or a QA machine. And in our case, I have created B56 lab server. Okay, and the other thing is, other thing is we also discussed about when you provisioned a machine, whenever you're not able to connect to the server, what is the first thing that you need to go ahead and check? So you need to check what is the status of it, whether it is in the running state or in the initialization state. If it is in the running state, what are the status checks? What about the instance status checks? What about the system status checks? What is instance status check and what is system status checks is something we clearly understood. Okay, and another thing we also discussed about auto healing. That means what happens? The virtual machine that you're running on a server on AWS went for a toss because of some hardware failure. What happens to the underlying node? What happened to the machines that are underlying that? So what happens to them? We also discussed a concept called as auto healing. Okay, and we discussed about how can you reach Amazon. Okay, again, when you want to reach to Amazon, it falls under the category of either AWS technical support or AWS billing and account management. If you want to read related any AWS technical related support, you cannot reach them. Okay, because by default it only allows billing because we are a free tier account. And also we discussed about quota. By default, in each and every AWS account, every service, okay, every resource that you want to use is always capped or given with a what can be the maximum number of resources that you can use. Okay, so this is something a defined entry. But if you want to increase, for example, by default in any account, for example, you can create only 10 servers. And as a part of this training, if you are asked to implement 20 servers or 30 servers, you cannot do that because the limitation won't let you to do that. In that case, there is one option where you can reach Amazon by raising a request, or you can also raise a request of our own. So without even reaching Amazon, how can you increase the quota? That is something I would like to talk. Okay, so yesterday I didn't get an opportunity to talk, so let's try to talk on it. Okay, how can we increase our own quota? This is very important. Okay, again, it has to go through account management and all. So in production, you have something called as a technical account management. Whenever you are dealing with something in that context, okay, definitely the request, the moment you raise the request, it will be checked with your internal team, then only that will be provisioned. Okay, that is one point you should be very clear of. All right, but in our case, if you do not want to reach Amazon, instead you want to raise a request of our own, yes, you can do that. Let me try to show you. All right, so if you have any questions, meanwhile, you can post them in the channel. So I'm just signing on by checking the root user and my password is saved. So I'm clicking on sign in option. Come here and go to the search bar and look for search for quotas. Okay, and it says quota increase request. Click on the quota increase request. Okay, and what service quota that you want to see? Let me go to EC2, and I'm interested about Elastic Cloud Compute Amazon EC2. Come and click on this. Now, what quota that you want to increase? Spot instance. There are multiple varieties. So rather than discussing anything about, I'll just say all standard spot request. Okay, what is a spot? We'll talk about it. Okay, right now, as I said, I deal with a lot of freelancing projects as well, and that's the reason you can see 384. But in your case, it could be 10, 15. But let's assume that my quota is less and I want to increase it. I clicked on it, and then all you need to do is you need to click this button. Okay, all you need to do is you need to click this. Okay, you need to click this button. All right, if you click this button, okay, if you click this button, it's gonna increase the request. So let's try to do that. All right, so click on request. You can come right now. I just want to increase it to 390, 384 to 390, just request. That's it. The request will go and it will be processed in 2 to 3 hours. Okay, if you come here and check after some time, it will be request. This will be processed. So you don't even have to reach to Amazon to do that. Instead, you can even raise a self-service request. That's how you can even raise a request of our own. All right, perfect. And also, I was being asked, okay, someone to remind me of this one, right? What is this? What is this wavelength zone and local zone? What is local zone and wavelength zone? This is just a theory. Okay, what is a local zone and wavelength zone? Okay, these are some special categories. Okay, so you don't have to stress on it, but just try to understand it. What is local zone and what is wavelength zone? Okay, these are some special zones with special purpose. Available for special purpose. Okay, let's try to nail that down, what exactly it is. And it is available purely on specified regions, specified zones, specified regions only. So for example, if you go here and say global AWS, global infrastructure map, come here and click on AWS global infrastructure map. You scroll down, okay, only in certain region. Where is the map? Where is that? Yeah. Come on. AWS global infrastructure map. Yeah, this is what it is. And if you look in Australia, they have 3 zones. Why only 3 zones? And it's launched in 2023. And if you see this, it says in 2012, still it has availability zones are 3, but it doesn't have local zones. It only have 2 local zones, but it doesn't have local zones. What is this local zone, by the way? So guys, local zones are like, for example, you're living in Mumbai. For example, you're living in Mumbai. In Mumbai, okay, for example, if you're having huge business, okay. Now there are certain customers where they expect, for example, there is a park called as industrial park. And that park, at that park, your infrastructure or the zones are very, very far away. Now, there are certain customers who request that we want our infrastructure close, or if they experience latency, or where Amazon feel that we are having huge number of customers in this particular location, I think it's better that we host one more zone there, but that is designated only to the customers who want to host the infrastructure in that particular place, so that the requests will be processed very close to each other. When you take some big companies like Walmart, IKEA, and all these big shopping malls, they even have the data center within the same store itself. The reason why is they'll have a mini data center is when you scan something, when you for billing, immediately in fraction of a second, the request will go to the database and fetches the information and displays, right? It all happens on a snap. So in order to do that, the distance between the computer, the point of service or the POS machine, and the backend server should be very close. Okay. In order to accommodate that, okay, earlier we used to have the local data center, but it's if any of the if any of the certain sort of customers are experiencing, or if Amazon is having huge dense of customers in a place, in an industrial park or a technological park, nearby that they'll construct additional zones, but that is not for everyone. This is for everyone, but this is not for everyone. And for example, if your business is operated in the region, you can create a zone in that by raising a request. Hey, I want to create a zone in this, and this is purely private, okay, to only those customers. And this won't be enabled by default in your account. You need to go and raise a request. That is one thing. Okay. And next thing is, in North Virginia, you'll see another thing called as wavelength. What is this wavelength zone? So technically availability zone, local zone, wavelength zone, all of them does the same. They are typical data centers. But this wavelength zone, you see mostly in United States only. Wavelength zones are constructed to accommodate 5G speed to the mobile network providers. For example, in states we have mobile providers like AT&T, all these big companies, right? So in Amazon, even they have Amazon even offered infrastructure that is related to telecom as well. So all the infrastructure that is related to telecom providers is hosted on this. These are something which are hosted across the North Virginia in order to provide the greater speed. Okay. For example, when Amazon launched this, they don't have the concept of 5G. But down the line, after 10 years, uh, they know that the business that will be offered, or that will be business that they can generate through mobile providers, is very high. So they constructed infrastructure that is related to them, and they also started it offering it as a service. Amazon is purely customer driven. What customer wants, based on that they will provide. Okay. So it's not majorly, Amazon is known for customer driven support. Okay. And Amazon is the only cloud provider which even offers Mac as a service. That means if you want to create a MacBook server, you can even create on Amazon. Okay. That's the small good to know thing. It's not a technically you need to know at any cost thing. No, it's not like that. Okay. It's always a good to know thing. All right. So we understood how can you raise a request by using the service quota. Next, in corporate, okay, standard way of authenticating. So any server is by username and password only. You go to any corporate, okay, this is the standard way of authentication. But Amazon by default don't allow you to use username and password. Amazon by default enforce you to whatever the AMIs that you get, majority of them are the AMIs that works with username and password. Okay. Just like how in corporate also, you excuse me, in corporate, you would never ever use any of the AMIs that are publicly offered. You are going to create your own AMIs, and you are going to use it. As per your business requirement, you are going to customize your AMI, and you will be publishing it to your project. And all the users in your project will be using it. Similar way, for the purpose of lab, we are also going to use, okay, for the purpose of learning, for learning Linux, we have an AMI. We have an AMI that works with password. So how that works with a username and password? How did you publish an AMI? So all these things we're going to learn after understanding the concept of Bash and Linux in the later sessions. But for now, going forward, I want every one of you. Okay. So what is the standard going forward? So what is the standard going forward? So going forward, we are going to use a lab AMI. Okay. And the details are, I already supplied it. I think every one of you has got this B56 repository, right? And if you go and look at it, you have Linux learning AMI to use. So in order to learn Linux, you need to have a server. So what we did, just like in projects, how they supply their own AMI, which works with a username and password. Similarly, we also published a username and password AMI. And the name of the AMI is CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI. And the username is CentOS and the password is password123. P should be capital letter, and this will be only available in the North Virginia region. Okay, and if you go and search in Japan or in Singapore or in Mumbai or Sydney, it will not be available. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a server. Come here. All right, so let would like to launch an instance and ensure you're in the North Virginia region. If you're in some XYZ region like Mumbai, for example, if you're based out of India, your default region will be Mumbai. And if you're based out of Australia, and majority of the students are here in India and States. So if you're from States, by default, it shows something in United States. Ensure you select North Virginia. And another reason why we extensively use North Virginia is because in North Virginia, billing is relatively less when compared to other places. So we prefer going with North Virginia. And in North Virginia, whenever Amazon releases any brand new features, they would be released here. So you'll always have a free hand to try the best features. So obviously, you'll be the first customer to experience these things. So yeah, I'll come here. I would like to say, as I said, yesterday we learned the Linux naming standards. So since it is batch 56, Linux server. Okay, Linux server. That's it. Linux labs, Linux. Okay, B56 Linux server. And I would like to search for the AMI. And this is an AMI that is published by me, CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI. All you need to do is you need to go to the community tab. Okay, and here, ensure you're in the North Virginia, repeat it. Okay, come here. Going forward, we are going to use a machine image that is having username and password. Come here and click on it. Let's wait. Okay, and it has shown one image, CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI, and this image is published by me in 21st of Feb 2023. This year on 21st, I have published this image, and come here and click on this. Select. I selected the AMI, and again, I would like to go with the T3.micro. Free tier is always free, but at the same time, it will be somewhat slow. Okay, it takes 30 to 60 seconds of time. I need to respect your time, and that's the reason I would like to go with T3.micro, which is a third generation hardware, which is not free, by the way, but still I'm okay to pay that. Okay, T3 micro is a general purpose combination that gives you 2 CPUs and 1 gig of memory. Okay, so here the one option that is different from what you used yesterday is this key pair option. Okay, all these days we are selecting any particular key pair because we are authenticating to the server by using key pair. Now this is a AMI that is created and published to work with username and password, not with the keys. Okay, just like how in corporate things work. And that's the reason you need to proceed without a key pair. Come and click on proceed without key pair. That's it. All right. All right. Come here. And all you need to do is that's it. For example, if you want a 10 GB, and also yesterday has asked me what is this GP3, GP2, SSD, what are the type of disks? These are the different type of disks. Okay, in disk you have SSD disk, magnetic disk, solid state drive disk, right? Better performance. I mean, SSD is a top disk, okay, which gives you the better performance. So I would like to go with SSD. And again, GP1, GP2, GP3, they are the general purpose, second edition and third edition. GP3 is the third generation disk. So I would like to go with this GP3 and 10 GB. That's it. Launch the instance and your instance would be ready. Let's wait for it to come up. Meanwhile, if anyone have any questions, you can post. Anyone have any questions? Meanwhile, we can take up the questions if anyone has any. Yes, Prakash.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Manoj. I just like to ask how you have created the EMI with credentials.
I already mentioned that we're going to talk about when we discussed about bash scripting. Okay. All right, Prakash, how to create an AMI, how to make an AMI with our customizations, just like how in projects we do, is something somewhat closely related to automation. When we cover the topic of automation, I would like to talk in a very detailed note about that. Okay. In our project also, I mean, in our training also, we are going to make our own AMIs and publish them. So that I would like to talk in a very detailed
It
note.
is a standard practice that we need to create our own AMI.
Yes. Each and every company has their own requirement. As per their own requirement, we need to make our own AMI. All right. That's a standard practice. Yes. And connecting with username and password is the standard way of authentication. Okay, Prakash?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So I could see another question. These days, all the hardware is managed by Terraform. How actually it takes place physically? So Manjit, we are going to talk exactly that question 40 hours in our training. So you need to stay tuned on it. Okay. Whatever you said is 100% correct. All right. So my machine is up and the status is still initializing. So we need to wait till it comes to the running state at least. The status is still initializing. So meanwhile, you can even come and give it a try whether it works or not. So you can go to Putty or Git Bash or anywhere. All you need to do is just say SSH. The default username is CentOS. I mentioned here the username is CentOS and the password is password23 with P as an uppercase. Ensure you use the uppercase P, and username and password are case sensitive. That means the username and password should be case specific. CentOS should be in lowercase letters and password should be in lowercase letters apart from P. So at the rate IP address. Okay. Now I'm connecting to the server by using the IP by using the username as CentOS at the rate IP address, just like your James Bond 007 at gmail.com. Okay, so it says, hey, you're trying to connect your this server for the very first time. Your fingerprint will be registered. Do you want to proceed? Obviously, yes. Now I connected. So password as 123. I entered. Okay, I just connected to the server. Who am I? It says the user with which I assigned is CentOS. This is how we can create a server by using a username and password. All right, perfect. I could see a question. I could see Shanmugam's hand raised. Go ahead, Shanmugam.
Hi, Manoj.
Hi.
Once you log into the terminal first,
Mhm.
could you please do that? Repeat that. Exit from this and once. Yeah,
I will run
please
one more
hit
session.
bash. We are seeing the term the master here.
Yeah.
Is that any specific meaning
No, no,
have?
no. That is just my customization. That is something related to Git. Okay, that is
Oh,
the name of the branch. What is Git? What is a branch? We'll talk that when Git comes up in the picture. Okay, you
okay,
really don't have to worry about it. But when you install, you won't be seeing it. Okay.
okay, okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Perfect. Now, guys, every day we are going to create a server, destroy the server. Every day we are going to create the server and destroy the server, right? Every time creating the same server again and again, again and again, again and again, coming, clicking, selecting all these options, it's very a painful job, right? Instead, what if you have some nice option that can let us to fill all the options and with a single click of a button, how can I create? Okay, let's do that. Okay. How can I create a server with a single click of a button? with all my options. How can you do that? Okay, so typically in organizations, every time creating a server by supplying all these options every day, going and selecting the AMI, searching the AMI, and giving the disk size as 10 GB, and all these things is really going to be a painful task every time if you give. In a day, if you're doing once, that's fine. But what if you're doing 10 times? So every time me going and searching for the AMI, all these things is a lengthy task. So that can easily be handled by something called as a launch template. Okay, so what this does is in this launch template, you can supply all the options that you want in the template, and whenever you want, you can create it. All right. Okay, so in launch template, we can supply all the default options and we can say, hey, create this server. Okay, and the beauty of it is every time you change something, a new version will be coming up. Okay, we'll see that thing later, but for now let's try to create a server with a launch template. All right, so go here and I would like to create a template. So in the same EC2 panel itself, if you look at this launch template, you go here and click on this. Okay, we have a couple of templates. Let me try to delete them. I don't want this. Okay, I would like to create a launch template. You come here and select the launch template option. Okay, you come here and select the launch template option and then just click on the launch template option. Okay, you can come here and click on the launch template option, and once you click on the launch template option, you can mention this. Okay, so B56 Linux learning template. Okay, CentOS Linux learning template. So this is the name of the template that I would like to give. Okay, you can also give a description of it. Okay, this template is created to offer Linux learning servers to BATCH56. Okay, so that way I'll understand, oh, this is created to create Linux servers for all the BATCH56 students. Now what you can do is you can search for the AMI. You can search for the AMI CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI, right? CentOS-7 Linux Learning AMI. Okay, come here and search for it, and it by default it goes to the community AMIs, and it's click on it and it says that it is available, and come here and select this. Okay, now you have selected that option, and what is the type of instance? And if I want to go with t3.micro every day, I don't want to go and search for it, and I would like to do that. And the disk size I would like to go with okay, disk size I would like to go with where is the disk? ABS volumes. So disk size I would like to go with 10 GB rather than 5 GB. Create a launch template. That's it. This template is created. Okay. Again, you see another word called as on-demand instance. What is this on-demand instance? In few minutes we'll talk. But for now, my template is created. Now tomorrow I'll come to the session. If I want to create any server, I really don't have to worry about, okay, go to the community MI, select the MI, select proceed without key pair, and don't have to select a 10 GB and don't have to select GB3. Come here, just select launch instance. Okay, all you need to do is go to the launch template. And guys, is it okay? I'm using the highlighter, red color highlighter. If you guys are not comfortable, let me know. I can stop. Is it okay if I use highlighter red dot? Anyone? Here, Shanmugam. Okay, I'll take the silence as no. I'll come here, I'll select this launch template, and then I would like to go here and I would like to say launch the template from this particular machine. You can also mention how many machines you want. You can mention, for example, I'm doing the project. Okay. And Mozam, I do not want you to practice in parallel. Okay. If things are going on, please focus only on it. Please do not practice online. Just a request. Okay. All right. So I would need 2 or 3 instances. So I can come and say how many number of instances you want. For now, I would like to mention it as 1 instance and scroll down all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Okay. You don't have to do anything. I just want, say I want an instance, and this option, you cannot put it in the template. At any cost, you need to come and select, I want to proceed without a KPI. That means with the 2 clicks, I created a server. That's it. Now I want a couple more servers. So all I do is I'll go to the template. Okay. So launch the template from the instance. 3 servers. And I go and say proceed without key pair. So since this AMI is designed to work with username and password, I want you guys to select proceed without key pair. That means this machine works with a username and password. Launch. So now 3 instances would be coming up. All right, come here and select. You'll see all the instances. Okay. Now select any of the server and come here, and you can connect to the server. SSH, CentOS. Yes, since I'm connecting to the server for the very first time. And what is the password of it? And the password of it is password 123. That's it. You're connected. Okay. This is how you can create a server using username and password. And that's the advantage of a launch template. And once you're done with the practice every day, select the instances. Okay. Ensure you don't select the instance that was terminated, because that's already terminated. Come here and say terminate. Terminate is technically like deleting the instance. Yesterday, in the questionnaire, we got a very interesting question. Okay. Manu, I have created a server. This is a question. Okay. We have created a server. Let's come. How billing works? This is a very important question. Let's talk about in detail. How billing works in AWS. Okay. So in any of the cloud provider, billing works on pay as you go. So it all goes by pay as you go. That means how much ever you use, how many number of servers that you use, based on that, or how many number of minutes you use, based on that, it would be billed. Okay. Now I'll ask you one question. You created a server. For example, you created a server, and that server has it's a T3 micro machine, T2.micro. Okay, that offers you, okay, that offers you 1 GB of RAM and 1 CPU. And for example, it also has 30 GB of disk. Okay, disk, 30 GB of disk. Okay, 1 GB of RAM, 1 CPU, and 30 gig of disk. Now, the moment you turn on the server, billing will start. Okay, the moment you turn on the server, billing will start. But the moment you shut down the machine, the billing will stop. That is not 100% true. Okay, so the moment you shut down, okay, the moment you shut down, billing starts the moment you start the server. Okay, when you stop, when you stop, you won't be billed CPU and RAM, but you'll still be billed for the underlying disk. Okay, why like this? Okay, so technically it really makes sense. Okay, the moment you turn off the server, you are not utilizing the CPU and memory. Obviously, you won't be billed for it. But the underlying disk, it really doesn't matter whether you're using it or not, because the disk is allocated to you and you're supposed to use it. Because you're holding the data on the top of it, right? If you use, that's fine. If you don't use, okay, that still Amazon is not making any business. That's still your disk and it's holding your data. So as a part of the free tier, Amazon offers 30 GB of disk. AWS offers 30 GB of disk. Okay, and this is a service offered service, and this is a service called as EBS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. Okay, so yeah, this is one question which was asked during the questionnaire, which we didn't get a chance to address that during the questionnaire. All right, so yeah, I could see a question from Mozam. Yeah, hey, hi Mozam, go ahead.
Hi Manoj. I posted a while ago, but you already replied to that. No, I was not I was not practicing side by side. It was from yesterday when I was practicing.
Awesome,
So
then
from
it's fine. Yeah, just thought
yeah,
you
so
are okay.
yeah, so from there it was not coming the details for details, and I had to like click on that instance, and then the
You need to
details
explore.
was
Yes, just explore.
yeah,
Okay, come
yeah,
here
yeah.
and select. You have a lot of options. Okay, detail, security, storage, status, monitor, tags, security related options, network related options, storage related options, general options, like that. They are segregated tabs. But if you select 2 3 servers, that won't be showing. Okay.
Yeah, so my other question was, since you downloaded this what you call this thing Git from yesterday on our like for the Windows, right?
Okay.
So because we are creating server on AWS, so uh, can't we practice over there, or do we have to work on our Windows environment?
That's exactly what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
Creating a server somewhere and you're connecting from here. That's it.
yeah.
You are having
So okay, so
simple. For
that's the
example,
way
you are
that's the
living in
way.
States, your friend is in India. How are you
Yeah,
talking to him? Over the mobile network, right? Agree?
yeah, yeah.
Same thing. Assume your Git bash is like a cell phone and you're
Mm-hmm.
dialing a number which is routing you to the particular details. As simple as that. Okay.
Okay.
Assume Git bash as your mobile phone, and this is the details of your friend. Okay, a mobile number. From here you're connecting to it. That's it.
So
Okay.
this IP address is saved in your computer, or do you have it in the copy command or something you paste every time? So how it comes so quickly for you?
I copied it right here.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I'm going to
no,
paste.
no. But every time whenever you open, you have to go back and copy and you do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
All right. That's it. Anything else, anyone? All right. Good. Perfect. All right. Next thing, billing is very, very important. So typically, guys, when you join any company, okay, so everyone expects recognition, right? So when you join any company, people typically you try to do tasks that gives you good recognition, good fame, good trust. You need to establish the trust and respect. And trust and respect are not something you get it, you need to earn it. So initially, even when I join any company, the first thing that I observe is how billing is coming. what is the billing that we are getting, and where billing is more coming, what services it is coming up, where can I contribute that can help the company or the project to reduce the billing. That really helps me to portray, hey, your name will be audible across the project or across the team. So how can you do that? And for that, you need to understand how billing works in AWS. And yesterday itself, I clearly mentioned, when you get any requirement from any stakeholder or from any customer or from any of your developer or from any of your application team, I told you what questions needs to be asked, right? Along with that, you also need to ask, okay, you want to create a server, how many CPUs you're expecting, how much memory you're expecting, what is the operating system you're expecting, how long you're going to run. And you also need to give him the billing. Okay, what is expected, what is the expected billing if for the month. Okay, these things also you need to give. Okay, in order to go there itself, okay, I also want to show you, as I said, when you join any company, the first thing that you need to do is you need to understand how billing comes there. Okay, what is the major consumption, which service is being consumed more. Okay, all these things are very important to know. Okay, so let me try to show the billing, and before that, Prakash has a question. Yeah, go ahead, Prakash. You can raise your hand, Prakash, if you want to talk. Yeah, go ahead, Prakash.
Yeah, Manoj, one question is that when you launch the instance via template, I cannot see the name. So how names are coming blank? So in an organization, when we are doing multiple projects, how we gonna do the logical grouping of the instances?
Park that question till the end. I want to give a very detailed note. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
That's the question.
All right. All right. Now I would like to show you how billing works. Okay. First, on the top right corner, you have the name of the account. In my case, 6 a.m. training. Come here, click in the billing dashboard. Okay. Don't worry by looking at the billing. Don't worry that I'm getting 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. I do some other projects as well. Okay. And if you come here and if you look at this, okay, go to the bill section. If you want to see what is the billing of mine in the last month, I'll try to go with detailed dive so that you'll understand better. So I would like to go and I would like to see what is the September billing. September month billing. It costed me $100, almost 8,000 I have paid. Okay, why? What are the services that made me to consume this much amount? Okay, let's try to talk more about it. And if you see this bill belongs to September 1 to 10, and I got this bill on 2nd of October. Okay, so it's just like your electricity bill or any telephone bill. Okay, so you'll get based on the utilization. And if you see charges by the service, okay, you can come here and look at it, which is the service that costed you more. And if you look at this, elastic load balancing, okay, is a service that costed me $52. And in which region it has costed me? In the North Virginia region, it costed me $52. Okay, and why? Again, you click on the plus. It says I have used a classic load balancing whose cost is $0.008 per data processed by the load balancer, and I have used it. And you can also see I majorly cost, okay, load balancer. Okay, and it's costing based on the hourly basis, which has costed me around 52 or around 2000 hours I have used. And because of that, I got billing. And also if you scroll down at the bottom, EC2 Elastic Cloud Compute, $27 I got. And if you look at this, I got the billing in US North Virginia. And in the North Virginia, these are the reasons. I have used 0.0416 of T3 medium, 0.0832 of T3 large, and likewise and likewise, based on the services you use, you get billing. Okay, and that's and on the top of it, $15 is the tax. When you sum it up, it came around $102.33. Okay, Manu, you're showing once you get a bill, right? But in my case, what if I want to see what is the expected bill? If someone asks me to provision a server with this much CPU and this much amount of memory and this much amount of disk, which is going to run round the clock, 24/7, a month, how do I come to know what will be the billing? How can I say my customer, hey, this is the billing, are you okay or not? Or how are we going to do that? Okay, AWS offers something called as AWS billing calculator. Create an estimate. You can come here and create an estimate. You can come and create an estimate, and you can mention search by location type. And yesterday itself, I clearly mentioned billing varies from region to region, because each and every region, the currency value was different. And at the same time, the taxation varies by country to country. So we cannot hardcodely say that even in United States itself, from region to region, the billing changes. And also guys, Amazon Web Services has a huge reputation that majority of the government agencies also uses this. Okay, and if you see this region, AWS Government Cloud, which is started in 2011, which stays in the West Coast. Okay, and if you see this here, your Amazon also has a Government Cloud, which is hosted on 2018 US East. Okay, these two regions are only for the government organizations and government agencies in the states. Okay, that much reputation that AWS has with respect to compliance, regulations, and policies. Okay, but yours is a government-based company, you will have access. But if yours is not a government agency, you cannot use it. Okay, that is another point I want to make. All right. So go ahead and let's try to see that, and let's try to create an estimate. And since we are in the North Virginia region, I would like to go and say, okay, by region. And the region I would like to say is a North Virginia region. Go and select the North Virginia region. And service, I would like to go with T2.Mic, TC2 service, and configure. And you need to mention what type of service, what is the Linux, okay, whether it's Windows or what type of instance. Okay, so estimate create for okay. Now choose a region, and the region is North Virginia. Tenancy is nothing but shared instances or dedicated instance or a dedicated host. So this is very important option. Typically in companies we go with the dedicated instances. What is shared instance, what is dedicated host? Okay, let's talk about this as well. Shared instance, okay. Tenancy is nothing but shared, how hardware is going to be shared. Tenancy, let's talk about this as well. Tenancy, how hardware, this is an option to decide how the underlying hardware is shared between the customers. Okay, this option is also a very nice option, and you can see tenancy as shared. Okay, when you say share, what exactly it is meant? Okay, this is Amazon's physical hardware. That you really don't have to worry about it. What is the underlying hardware? But for example, all the instances in green are belongs to customer A. Let's assume. Okay, green indicates customer A. All right, these are customer B, and you might also have customer C. Okay, customer A, customer B, customer C are different customers to AWS. Okay. Okay, so this is nothing but shared tenancy. That means on the underlying hardware where you're running the physical machine, whatever the instances that you're provisioned, on the same hardware, other customers' infrastructure can also be provisioned. Okay, in this case, the cost of your instances is going to be very less. Okay, another type is there that is called as a dedicated instance. Okay, so that if the tenancy is dedicated instance, okay, what does that exactly mean is, okay, dedicated instance. Okay, when it says dedicated, that means you won't see, okay, if you provision some servers on the top of some server on that particular hardware on the top of the physical machine, you will not be seeing any other customer's infrastructure. Okay, now, okay, why we need to bother about it? Because Amazon promises the data between two different machines is strictly isolated. If Amazon is going to take care of it, why are we going to worry about it? Okay, so guys, typically when you are working for any public trading companies or any good companies, okay, which follows great standards, as a part of their public trading policies and as a part of the compliances, they say that we are running our infrastructure on dedicated instances. Our data is not going to be accessed by anyone. That means if they promise something, okay, in order to be on the top of the policy, okay, rather than what Amazon says, they give a commitment, they give a commitment to their customers that your data cannot be shared because the infrastructure that we are running is strictly isolated. Okay, in order to prove the statement or as a part of the compliance requirements, if they do not want to run any of their infrastructure, if they do not want to run any instances on the top of the hardware where other customers infrastructure is there, and this type of infrastructure is called as dedicated. Okay, you can choose whether it is tenancy as dedicated or shared, or you can even also mention it tenancy. And another option is dedicated host. Okay, so there are certain applications, okay, which needs to be run on the top of a physical host. Okay, for example, it's a part of the migration project. For example, yours is a migration project where you are having an application which is already running on the top of the data center. Dedicated host, let's assume. One second. All right. Okay, this tenancy option is very commonly asked in the interview question. Okay, so just want to brush up on that as well. All right, because these are very underrated options, which typically has a very great potential when you don't answer. So let's try to answer that. When you say dedicated host, okay, Amazon is going to give you the entire server, and in the entire application, you are going to run it as a physical host. That means you will have access to the physical host, and this is also referred as a bare metal server, but it's going to be very, very costly. Okay. Among all, shared tenancy is very cheap, not cheap, inexpensive when compared to dedicated. When compared to dedicated host, bare metal is inexpensive. Okay. Amazon gives you the entire hardware. On the top of this entire bare metal hardware, you can run any application of your choice. Because there are certain applications which specifies I want this specification where it needs to be dedicated. Okay. So just like that, okay, where Amazon even brings up their licenses which they already bought, which will only work if it is running only one specific operating system. In that kind of situation, you can even renegotiate and say that, okay, I want a dedicated hardware. Again, as I said, which one is best? It all comes by cost. What you want, okay, what your company want is something that should determine the whole story. Okay, that's about tenancy. Okay. So I could see another
So
question, will
Manoj,
it
in
not
case
affect
of
security by
dedicated
sharing
host,
hardware? I don't think, okay, Amazon is trusted by a lot of customers and it has qualified all the data compliance standards. And if you don't want to trust that, Amazon is still giving you an option. If you don't want to trust, you can go with shared hardware. Or if you are worried about that, I'm telling you it won't be compromised. But if you don't want to believe that, then yes, I also have an option to go with dedicated instances. Okay, whenever you're working with secure financial organizations, medical organization, everyone typically goes by dedicated host. That means a host will be allocated, and on the top of that, your infrastructure will be provisioned. But wherever your infrastructure is running, on the top of that physical server, other client's infrastructure is not going to be tolerated. Okay, so yeah, Manjit answers your question. Perfect. That's a good question. All right. Now coming back to the billing again, go and select, go and select, go and select, choose the operating system. In my case, I would like to choose Linux, or if you want to choose SUSE Linux or Windows Server or Windows Web Server, anything of your choice. But since we are going to deal majorly with Linux, I would like to go with Dell Linux. And constant usage, how many servers? For 2 servers, I would like to use. and come here, and you mention whether you want to go with number of CPUs, number of memory, or you want to go with the instance type. I would like to go with T3 instances, T3 dot. Let's see what all options does it have. And it says T3.2x large, which gives me 8 CPUs and 32 gig of RAM. For example, your client has mentioned that he want to go with 32 gigs of RAM and 32 gig of RAM and 8 CPUs. Maybe that's your requirement. Maybe you can select that. Okay, it's a very big machine, by the way, and I want 2 such machines. And you got a requirement to provision 2 such machines. Okay, and you need to mention what these are. Okay, we'll talk about this. Okay, for now, I would like to go with on demand. On demand is the option which is a costless option. Okay, and with respect to billing, there are 3 varieties. But this is a very important option. I also want to add. Okay, with respect to billing, in AWS, there are 3 options. The first option is on demand. Okay, which is the most costliest option. Second, reserved option. On demand instance. Let's call it an on demand instance. Next thing is I think Manjit, I have answered your question. Will it not affect the security by sharing the hardware? All right. Yeah, Manjit, yeah, you can talk. If you want reserved instance and another instance is spot instance.
Yeah, actually, my question is like, this the on cloud, everything is there on the AWS data centers, right? So as we talked about, like in case of banks or medical, so like there is a HIPAA compliance there in Europe or
Yeah,
US.
go ahead. Data compliance.
So in that case, like if we talk like, for example, they don't want to set up on their data centers and they wanted it on their own servers. So like that is again, that is on premise, right? But means these days banks and other who are very cautious about this data privacy. So how, what is the option then?
Okay, I think in your question itself, you mentioned the answer. As I said, cloud is the only way to focus more on the billing and to focus to reduce the focus on infrastructure and focus more on the application, because everyone are going behind the development of applications because it's all about data driven and application driven rather hardware driven, because there are companies like cloud providers like AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, which offers infrastructure. So rather than focusing on that, they are focusing on their application. And then coming back to the same point, if a bank or a healthcare company wants to go with this, and AWS, Google Cloud, and all these companies have qualified the compliance requirement needed to offer. Okay, there are some certifications that are there, ISO 27000 certification. Since you asked, I understood that you have some background. That's why I'm using the word. Others, do not worry about it. There are some certifications that company has to qualify, ISO 27000 or 27001 compliance. If they complete the compliance and if they prove that they're following all the standards, then only they are ready to offer their services. And all these cloud providers have already qualified that. But if a company wants a dedicated hardware where they do not want their infrastructure should be shared by any other customers, then in that case, they can go with the shared tenancy. Okay, if not, if they want a dedicated host, yes, it's a dedicated host. Again, if you say if the company is worried about my data is being hosted on the top of cloud, then obviously there is no option itself, right? You just need to stick with on-prem. Okay, but there are certain companies who are with the thought process where I have seen, I think in my previous assignment in 2020-22, I have seen such kind of white papers where all the data would be placed on the top of on-prem infrastructure, all the stateless or the dataless applications are running on the top of the cloud. And this cloud talks to the data present on the on-prem. That is also another type of infrastructure that you can see. But it's a proven in a lot of, you can even see US government cloud, right? That is the reputation Amazon has earned. Okay, it is known for one of the best policy enforcements and compliance regulations. Okay. All right. Perfect. So let's proceed. Again, with respect to the billing, we have 3 varieties of billing. Okay, based on the type of instance. Okay, one type of instance is on-demand instance, and this is only related to billing, not related to the number of CPU and amount of memory. On-demand instance, reserved instance, and spot instance. Okay, these are very interesting lines I would like to talk. So I'll give you a nice example. You want to stay in Bangalore for 30 days or 60 days. You went and booked a hotel. They charge you 2,000 per day. Correct? And if you stay in that same hotel for 30 days, how much it costs you? 60,000, right? Agree? Same way, for example, you go to any rental property and say that I would like to stay in this particular hotel for a particular accommodation for particular amount of time. They offer you nice discount, right? Since you are giving a commitment that you are going to stay here for this much amount of time, they might give you some better deal, 1,000 per day. You're straight away saving 50%. But what if you decide that you would like to stay in a home for 6 months or 1 year? So you go to Bangalore, you want to take a flat lease as an apartment, and you give them a commitment, you sign a lease that I'm going to stay here for 1 year. Then they say you, okay, nice, then I can give you 20,000 per month, which is very less, right? That means the moment you give a commitment to someone that I'm going to stay here for the next these many months, they'll think, okay, my property is going to be occupied by the tenants for the next these many months. I can expect a standard income. But the moment you break a lease, for example, you give a commitment for 1 year, and if you break that down for after 6 months or 8 months, what you do, you need to pay the balance 4 months amount, and then you need to vacate, right? That means when you're very sure that you're going to stay there for some certain amount of time, you can negotiate on the price and people offer you discount, right? Same way in cloud also, it works the same way. Okay, whenever you're not sure that you are going to run any particular instance for this much amount of time, this much amount of these many months, whenever you're not sure, okay, whenever you randomly want to create any instance and you're not even sure how long you're going to run, in that case, we go with something called as on-demand instance, and that's the default option. And that's the default option. Okay. And the other option is you can give commitment to Amazon. Okay. Typically in your company, your product team or the technical account manager team talks to the technical account manager. This word is a very famous word, and it's also referred as a TAM. So the technical account manager in Amazon or your company talks to the management at Amazon and negotiates, hey, we are going to use these T3 mediums, these many T3 mediums in your company in this particular region, in our particular account. What is the discount that you offer for us? Okay, so we are going to give you a commitment of 1 month or 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. So what is the discount that you offer us? What is the discount that you offer us? Okay, so that way you can get some great discount as well. All right, so let's try to see how can I get that. Any questions, anyone so far? I could see a couple of questions in the chat window. Let me go through them. All right, not able to understand that. Yeah, Raghavendra, go ahead. I could see your hand raised if you have any question.
Hi Manoj, I have one question related to billing. So, as you showed, we can see the monthly billing, what AWS is charging us, right? So, how does the payment get happen? So, as we have initially given our credit card, so it directly get paid from our credit card, or we
If you
need to manually make the payment?
the answer varies from the country that you are. In India, automatic payments are not allowed as per the RBI guidelines. And if you are based out of India, automatic payments, no, it will not go through. You need to every time physically supply. Okay, that's one point you need to understand. Okay, and again,
Okay.
if you are based out of states, it goes automatic.
Yeah, so after you just show me how to check the billing, so I checked there is some charges being charged for me. So, but should I manually go make the payment
Yeah.
as I'm from India then?
Yes, yes, you're absolutely
Okay.
right. 100% right.
So, is there option in AWS like over there we have to make the payment or how is it?
Yes, yes, yes. You're absolutely right. You need to go here, and if you
Okay.
have a bill, you'll have a pay now option. In my case, if you see there, oh, I don't want to show my payment option. Yes, you'll get a pay now option. Okay, the moment you see the
Okay.
bill, you have a pay now option. You click,
Okay,
enter
fine.
your payment option, and even they even give the option to do the wire payment and account transfer. I don't know whether we have UPI or not, but yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll check on that. Yeah,
sure.
thanks.
Okay, coming back to the topic, on-demand instance. So this is a default option when you create any server. Okay, so whenever you're not sure how long you're going to use the instance, and whenever you're not sure how long you're going to run the application, and if you have no soft limit and hard limit on the usage, then typically we go with this. And in organizations, we don't go with this because it's a very costly option. And in companies, once you're commissioning the project, whenever your project is being provisioning, okay, usually you will have a call with Amazon telling that we are planning to use your product, and this is this much big product, and we are a multi-millionaire company, multi-million making company, and we want to launch our products on the top of this, and we are having a plan to use this much CPU, this much memory for the next 1 year or next 3 years, or we are going to use this variety of instances like T3 micros or T series for the next 6 years or 3 years. What is the discount you'll get? So if you give a commitment to Amazon, for example, I have given a commitment to Amazon that I am going to use this server for the next 1 year, next 3 years. You're going to get 60 to 70% of the discount. Okay. But one more point, if you give a commitment to Amazon or any cloud provider that you're going to use this server for the next 5 years or the next 1 year or next 3 years, if you break the deal, still you need to pay. Okay. But still you need to pay the billing because you gave a commitment. Keeping the commitment in mind, Amazon has given you great discount, and now you say if you break that commitment, obviously you still need to pay. Okay, so that's where this option of this comes up into picture. For example, that's what it is telling. If you use it 100% round the clock, okay, and the billing is $242. If it is on demand, the billing that comes up is this. For example, you see the difference clearly. Okay, so this is 242.94 per month. And if you give a commitment to Amazon that you're going to use this server for the next 1 year, what it is telling, you can come here and see EC2 instance savings plan. Okay, again, compute savings plan is a little different thing. So EC2 instance saving plan. So I'm gonna say that I'm gonna reserve it for the next 1 year, and I'm ready to pay all the upfront at a shot. Then if you see, you're getting 1705 per year. 1705 divided by 12, how much? It's around $142. If you give a commitment to 1 year, it's 142. But if you give a commitment for 3 years, see, let's see what will be the billing. 3287 divided by 36. Because 3 years, 12 into 33. Can you see this? Earlier you got 172. If you give a commitment for 3 years, it's $91 per month. See the billing. On 3-year contract. Okay, this is more or less just like a American thing. In America, if you give a commitment for any mobile operator for these many months, you'll get this much less. So same way. Okay. So again, Spot is another thing that I would like to talk in a very detailed approach in tomorrow's session. Spot gives you 95% discount. And how is something that I would like to talk in tomorrow's session. All right, this is a very interesting concept. I would like to talk on it tomorrow. Okay, so how can you know whether the machine that you launched is on demand or this is? Okay, here you can go to something called a savings plan or the reserved instances. Okay, go to the reserved instances. Okay, and if in your company, if you bought anything in the reserved instance category, come here, reserved instances. In my case, I do not have any reserved instances, but you can purchase. Don't do that. Okay, you can go and say that I would like to buy T3 medium. T3 medium, and tenancy is default, which is nothing but shared, and offering class standard payment option. I would like to pay everything together. Okay, upfront. That means I'm going to pay everything right now. Okay, and here in this case, if you're ready to pay right now for the advance that you're paying advance, then you'll get huge discount, hectic discount. Okay, so if not, if you want to go with the monthly billing also, that's there, but you might not get that much discount. 10 or 15% you get better if you're ready to pay more. Obviously, if you buy something with cash, you get a better discount, right? Rather if you pay on debt. All right, same story. Okay, so scroll down and you can raise a request. Okay, so you currently have no items in the cart, so I would like to add an item in the cart. Search for it. Okay, so what is the desired quantity? How many? 3 servers, and this 1 year contract or the 3 years contract. And you cannot add 2-year contract because there is no such thing. You can either go for 1 or 2-year contract, 1 or 3-year contract. Okay, you cannot purchase it for 2 years. Okay, even in Google Cloud and Google Cloud, it's the same. I don't know in Azure. Okay, so I would like to buy it for 3 years. Okay, 3 years. Come here and add to the cart. Okay, your reserved cart is this, and if you're ready to pay 411, and you'll get a server where you can use it for the next 36 months. That means $411 divided by 36. Go and ask. That means per month it just costed you $11. It's very, very cheap. Okay, but again, if you want to get 95+% of the discount, you need to go with Spot. And this is just like gold. This is like a gold mine to all the companies, and all the companies are behind this. If in interviews, if you say that how you have given phenomenal amount of savings to the company by adopting the utilization through Spot, by achieving 100% reliability, and by making sure you got 95% of the discount in your project, it will be a gold mine in your company. So how companies do that, okay, as a part of all the discussions, I'm gonna talk more and more about this, and stay tuned to this, and we're gonna talk more and more tomorrow in the session. And that's for today. And tomorrow meeting link remains the same. Okay, there won't be any change in the meeting link. Meeting link remains same. Okay, and there won't be any changes in the deviation, and the session timings also remain the same. So let's meet tomorrow using the same link. Okay, and that's for today. I'm good for today's session, and I'm ready to take up the questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'm gonna take up the questions. All right, that's for today. I could see Prakash hand raised. Yeah, hi Prakash, go ahead. I could see your hand raised, but deliberately I stopped. I was in the middle of the topic. Yeah, you're over to you.
Yeah, so first thing is that the couple of questions I asked yesterday, you said that you're gonna cover today, but today it's still not covered. That
What
is
was
that the
that?
public and private IP concept. You said that you
We'll
covered
talk.
tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow. I didn't get
Okay.
a chance to talk. Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay.
I also
And
want to talk something else called a security group. At the time, I'm gonna talk. Yeah.
yes. Second thing is that the logical grouping which we're discussing, you said we'll park it last.
Sorry, what do you mean by
Logic.
logical grouping?
Yes. So when you create the instances by using a template, okay, So over there in the name, there's no name is coming, it is blank. So if
Correct.
I'm working for an organization where I'm using multiple projects, so for example, for one project I require 20 instances and for the other I require 50 instances, for example. And how can I group it up? Like this is particular, these instances are only dedicatedly for the P1 and these for P2.
I think you are. I'm not able to catch your question. Can you speak a little loud?
I repeat myself. If I'm say example, I
Okay.
have a couple of projects. Okay, and for the P1 project P1, I'm required 20 of instances,
Mhm.
and for the P2, I require 30 instances. So here I cannot logically grouping these instances based on my project
Mhm.
because the name is not here. The name is coming blank.
Mhm.
How can I logically group these instances based on my project?
Mhm. So typically you use something called as target groups. Okay. For example, the project one, for example, it's a payment server. You are having 10 payment servers. You can group them by using a concept called as a target group. Target group exactly does the same job. You can group logically the similar set of instances, which can be balanced by a load balancer as well. So the simple answer for that is yes, you can do that by using target group in AWS Cloud. Okay. So yes, we are going to use that option as well.
Okay. And second question is that the dedicated server and dedicated host. I'm not able to get because when you draw the diagram,
Mhm.
you're not mentioning that in the dedicated host, you're not mentioning any instances. So
That's
in
a
the
bare
dedicated,
metal. That's a bare
yeah.
metal. That means you get the entire server as a whole. Okay. So when it is a dedicated host, it's a physical server which is being given to you. On the top of the physical server, you will run your entire application. One server, one operating system. That's it. Okay. It's like a
But
bare metal server, physical server,
but
which will be given to you entirely,
but
where you'll run this.
on the top of the OS, I can create multiple VMs, right?
And that's then it falls under dedicated. If that's the goal of yours, then you need to use dedicated instance. Dedicated host is like you'll get the entire physical machine, then
Hmm.
you can use whatever you want on the top of it, but not creating the machines. The moment you say I want to create a virtual machines on the top of a physical machine, then you're talking about dedicated. But there are certain applications, okay, which are licensed, which says that they will be running on the top of physical machines without virtualization enabled. At the time, you cannot say that I cannot go to cloud, but Amazon has offered you that option. Okay. But whatever
Oh,
you said, if it is true, there won't be any difference between host and instance, right?
yeah.
Okay. This
Yeah,
is
that
true.
is why I was getting confused that when what is I
Mhm.
cannot able to define the
How
correct
about
usage
now?
of
How about
like
now?
no, still I have a doubt that I'm not able to figure out a real-time example where I need to be have this bare metal.
I'll tell you an example.
Yeah.
You're having a server, a physical server. Let's assume you're having a legacy application,
Mhm.
okay, that runs only on physical machine, not on the virtualization machines or the virtual servers. You are
Okay.
clear with this?
Yes, yes.
In this case, the only option is you buy a server
Mhm.
and put it on your data center and run it. Agree?
Yes.
But if you want to run it cloud, is it possible? No,
No.
right? But Amazon made it true by offering the whole unit to you. Amazon is giving you the entire host. You can use it as
Oh,
a bare metal server, just like how you run it on your data center, but it run Amazon's network, Amazon's infrastructure,
yeah, got
Amazon
you.
managed infrastructure. Okay.
Yeah. And
Does
my
it make
last
sense
question,
now? No,
yes,
no,
yes.
no. Let's go step by step. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
All right.
The last question is regarding to the billing type when you say that
Mhm.
on-demand instances and reserve instances. So are we currently only concentrating about the particular instance? For example, I'm seeking for only one instance, that is one VM, and I'm costing for I'm required a one VM for 1 year, for example. This is the only thing. Or for
That's it.
example, I'm seeking for auto scaling for different months.
No,
So
no,
that
no.
also we can cover it
Don't
into that.
mix. Don't mix. Let's look at individual. Let's not talk about auto scaling, all these things. Just focus on, let's take you have an instance at that time. So we'll engage into that when that concept comes. To answer that question, okay, for example, you are having only one, I'll give you an example keeping instances. Let's not talk about auto scaling, all these things. Okay. For now, in a pure vanilla flavor,
Hmm.
okay, you want to run 10 servers and you want them to be running for the next 3 years or next 1 year. In that case, what is the solution? This is the solution. But if you're talking about auto scaling, all these things, let's assume that you know the cloud clearly, then I can say the answer is then we're gonna go with something called a savings plan, where you talk to Amazon and get it signed telling that we are going to use 1000 CPUs and 4000 GB RAM for the next 1 year. Okay, that's where the next is. If you see here, there is also an option called as savings plan. Did you see this? Here you can say how many CPUs that you are going to use, how much memory that you want to use. You can also buy that way, telling that I would like to buy this much CPU and this much memory rather than saying instance type. Okay, then whatever you said will be applied. Okay, make sense?
Okay.
You can also buy based on CPU and memory rather than instances as well. That's also doable here. Okay. For example, if you come here and see search by instance type, you also have an option how many CPUs that you want to buy and all. Okay, I would like to buy 12 CPUs and 245 GB of RAM. You can also buy through this way. All right, that's also doable.
Okay.
Clear?
But in that scenario, I have to pay for 12 CPUs upfront, right?
You're gonna pay for everything, not just for 12. Whatever you select.
Yes. Okay. So I was seeking the configurational plan, like for coming, say example, the way Amazon and Flipkart do now, that whenever they have a sale, they buy more servers. So are they gonna configure this way, or signing a contract with Amazon that with this particular month we have high usage, so we're gonna have more reserved instances?
I don't want to comment on that because that will be dealt in a more mature way by using something called a spot. Okay, we don't even have to get into that agreement because we have more mature solution called a spot. That is a killer, by the way, with respect to billing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any
So you're
other
gonna
questions?
cover you're gonna cover that topic tomorrow, that public and private IP concept.
Yes, possibly yes.
I'll park it for tomorrow. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, Sonia, hi. Sorry, I didn't see your question.
Hi, Manu. Am I audible?
You are.
Yes, thank you. So I have this question which dates back to yesterday's class. I tried to create instance using both the formats, yeah, .pm and .ppk. So .pem works well. I don't get any errors. Everything is good. But .ppk seems to always show up a fatal error. It says putty fatal error.
Okay. What is your operating system?
Windows.
Which is the tool that you're using?
As in for what?
For putty? For when you use putty, ppk,
Yeah.
use putty.
Yeah, I'm using putty. Yes.
Okay, just connect with me after the session. Okay, I just need to see the screenshot of the error that you're referring.
Sure. Thank you, Manu.
Yeah, yes, good. All right, any other questions? Yeah, Mozam, hi. Sorry, didn't see your hand. Yeah, hi.
Hi Manoj. There was someone asked during the lecture about the on-prem. There was some questions, so I could not grasp that. Can you repeat that?
On-prem is typically a data center managed by you. Okay, so that's
Okay.
also referred as a data center. In conventional word, we call it as a on-prem, which is owned by you. Okay,
Which is owned by you.
Your company, not me. Company.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take that way. Not me, company. When I say me, company.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, yours is an e-commerce company. On-prem is nothing but the e-commerce managed own data center. Each and every company have their own data center, where if they don't want to run certain things on the top of cloud, or cloud don't support, they should have their own infrastructure, right? So
Right.
that's what on-prem means.
Okay, but what was that question? I didn't get that.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
Lot of
okay.
questions are there. Maybe if you say
Okay.
what is that, I can say that better. But the question I'm
Okay,
not able to recall.
maybe the person is listening who had posted that question, so I don't know.
All right. Any questions, anyone? Maybe just go through that. Okay. If you are able to recall, just let me know. Buzz me on WhatsApp. Let's talk.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
The most powerful thing, recording.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, anyone? All right. So guys, another thing, from tomorrow, we're going to talk more on a Linux part since we gained great concept. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And also I sent a poll and majority of them confirmed that they need networking concept. Okay, so what I decided is to have a dedicated networking session, okay, in week 4 or 5, where I'm going to talk more and more things about that. Okay. And yeah, that's it. The sessions are going good. Keep up the good job. So I'm getting a lot of questions, queries from different people in a very good approach. I really appreciate each and every one of you for taking time. And yeah, thank you very much. Signing off for the day. Okay, and let's meet tomorrow. Signing off, guys.